Hi everyone, Mainz here. This week's Waxing Lyrical with Mainz and Dutts has had to be split into two parts due to our extended conversation with Adam Rank. We will be posting the first one today and the second part will be posted later in the week. We hope you enjoy it. Here comes the show. Hello and welcome to episode 59 of Waxing Lyrical Mainz and Dutts. I'm your host Mainz, my colleague in Rainford, Mr. Neil Dutton.
Hello there.
Not much to do this week, Dutton.
No, we could talk about my back.
No one needs to talk about that. Maybe we should maybe talk to Adam Rank from Los Angeles. What do you think?
Yeah, we could do that.
Adam?
Hello, gentlemen. I want to talk about Neil's back. Why? What's going on? Psoriasis? Inflammation? What's happening?
Age.
Age is one of them. The doctors literally saw me coming and said, "What is it now?" So they just gave me diazepam and sent me on my way.
Understood. That's just easier that way.
There's a phrase in the UK, Adam, which is called green tent, which we use for horses when they jump over the hurdles and they fall over and break their leg. So to put them out the misery, they cover them in a green tent and then do what's necessary. In theory, if Dutton was a horse, he would have been green tented about 10 years ago.
15.
Oh, very nice. You know now that the phrase green tented is going to be used in NFL Fantasy Live now.
Let's hope so.
If it could be this year's stale bread.
In an example, players who are permanently injured. So like Darren McFadden, he should have been green tented about 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, he's green tented off my team for sure.
That's the classic example.
I've been compared to Darren McFadden.
Well done, Dutton. Well done.
Don't act like you're insulted. You like it.
Oh, I love it.
So, for those people who are thinking, why the heck have Mainz and Dutts got a guy from Los Angeles on the phone? And how have they ever met or spoken to a guy from Los Angeles? Let me explain. Adam is a friend of the show, and we like to call our friend, especially Neil's. He works for NFL.com. He's in the NFL media. He's been with the NFL since 1995, which is a pretty long time. Does Fantasy Live and is part of the cast on Dave Damashek's football program, which Dutton used to count as his favourite, but he's moved on to ATL now. But we're not allowed to talk about that with Dave.
A vicious and scurrilous rumour.
It's a vicious and scurrilous rumour.
Is that true? I do. I'll be honest. I become like the middle school girl when I see Neil, conversing with other shows on Twitter. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? You're talking to Chris Westling. You're talking to, all these other guys. I'm like, I'm not sure if I appreciate that, but it's okay. You know what? There's a lot of Neil to go around, so I understand that he's in high demand. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that it'd become to the apocalyptic point of where he's just completely gone NWO on us.
I think
it's spray painted on my back as I lie in the center of the ring.
I'm afraid so, like. Adam.
It has. If you chop me up, it would read DDFP through me like a stick of Black Bull Rock.
Ah, that's very nice.
If Adam understands what Black Bull Rock is.
No, so, I'm gonna play it off like I do.
Yeah, that's fine. If you're lucky, you'll never understand it. If you want fancy tidbits, that's not what we're doing today. We're on to have Adam on to discuss what he wants to discuss until he bores of us. So let's get on with the show.
Because he's got about 30 seconds till he's bored of us, to be honest.
Well, yeah, he's probably already bored of us right now.
All right, see you guys later.
So, our first thing, Adam, is we'd like to give a special thank you. First of all, for coming on the show.
Sure.
And second of all, for introducing me and Neil to Archer.
Oh, you guys like?
It's amazing.
Oh, we love it.
I'm not 100% sure where we were when it was on or when it started, but we're glad it's in our life now.
Oh, my life is a fuller place with it.
Lana!
Yeah, it's so much fun, and I love that the turn that they've taken this year with doing the Archer Vice and everything, and blowing up the whole show almost literally, and it's been fantastic. And it's one of the cool thing about it too is that you have to watch it numerous times to go back and make sure that you understand all the pop culture references, or at least have somebody write them out for you. There's sites around that you can go and look up, like, what did I miss? Like, I'm sure that there's something that I missed. And like the whole thing with the ocelot, there's an ocelot named Babu, which, okay, it's just funny that there's an ocelot named Babu, but Salvador Dali had an ocelot named Babu. Like little attentions to detail like that set that show apart from just about everything on television right now.
It was something that Dutton had said, Mainz, you're the technical one here. I need to get Archer on my iPad. So I managed to sort that out for him. And because I did, I also got to watch it. And I think the first thing I said to Dutton was, what is going on? I'm completely bewildered, but completely hooked at the same time.
It's as I say now, just random text now, just to each other, just hashtag danger zone.
Danger zone. Yeah, of course.
We absolutely love it. And we'd like to thank you for bringing it into our lives.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I try to spread the word as much as possible, but I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it.
No, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
So, one thing you wanted to look at, Adam, was Fight Club. So,
yeah.
in a comedy joke, first of all, are we allowed to talk about Fight Club?
Yeah, that's no, we weren't allowed to talk about it. So you guys already violated. This was the test.
Exactly.
We can't talk about Fight Club. How did you not get the most basic of the joke? That's the whole thing. We're going to talk about Fight Club. Number one, you should have known that we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I left the research to Mainz. So he's taking me down with him on this one.
So, I only wanted to talk about it because I imagined, because of listening to both Dave Damashek football podcast and ATL, that there's friction. I'm sure it's friendly friction, but there's friction all the same.
Yes.
So I now imagine a DDFP versus ATL Fight Club, and my question would be, which team would win?
Which team? I've already kind of thought about this at great length, and if you were going to book this like a WWE main event, what would happen is, and Neil, I'm sorry if you're going to be listening to this for the second time, but I feel it bears repeating to anybody who missed it, but it would start off where Dave would be insistent that he starts off the match against Rosenthal. And, and I don't feel that I'm pulling I'm telling tales out of school, but Dave's got a slight bit of a size advantage on Rosenthal, but Rosenthal's wily. So he would probably slap Dave so hard that Dave would have to run out of the ring, and he would tag in Handsome Hank. Then Handsome Hank would go to work, and he would put Rosenthal away quickly, and then Sessler would come in like a house of fire. Like a crazy man, kind of like if anybody's familiar with the WWE, a little bit like Dean Ambrose, just going crazy, throwing blows, and then Hank would probably be able to handle him too, and then get rid of him. So we're down 2, and then Hansis would come in, like kind of like a Brodus Clay type of guy. Big guy, but still easy to dispatch. Now, of course, this is when Hank would have to tag me in a couple of times and, make sure that we got rid of him. And then we would finally get rid of him. And then Westling, the toughest guy there, it would take some work, and it would take, but thankfully because of the numbers game, Handsome Hank and I would be able to finally get the best of Westling. And right before we're about to go to the pin, that's where Dave would reach into the ring, tag Handsome Hank in the back, jump over the rope, and then go score the pinfall and act like he did all the work. And at no point would Black Tie be out there. He would show up 5 minutes later like, hey, man, what's up? And just kind of do that. Like, what are you doing out here? He would grab the belt and start running around. Like, why are you grabbing the belt? You did none of the work. But the Lord knows that because otherwise, I could see myself, I would probably be the guy most prone to pull the heel turn at some point during the match. Like I could just end up, because that's another way this could have gone. I could have ended up, just waffling Dave with a metal folding chair and going that way and leaving it, or at least Black Tie for sure. But so that's, that's kind of how I would imagine it would have gone down.
So would you do it in a Survivor Series mode, or would you go War Games?
Oh, yeah, you got to go more Survivor Series. I wasn't a real big WCW NWA kid, so War Games looks cool, but I don't really have that much. I've seen a couple of their War Games through like video clips and stuff, but I was always a big mark for the Survivor Series.
No, I'm with you. I mean, from the UK, WCW was only really came onto the telly about 1995
and about 2
96
a.m.
maybe. It was on TNT, so we got TNT as a movie channel, Adam, within our cable structure, and they showed Nitro. So that was first time. That was the first time we was showed WCW. Whether we'd had WWF since about mid
Early
90s. Early 90s was it?
Yeah.
SummerSlam 91. SummerSlam 91 was our first SummerSlam on the telly. Our first pay-per-view on the telly was SummerSlam 91, which is what Heart Perfect, Match Made in Heaven, Match Made in Hell. That was our first.
Yeah, and the NWO stuff was fun, but for the most part, it was terrible.
Well, yeah. Dutch?
Well, this topic interested me because I like to think of, it's one that I like to think of myself as a bit refined when actually I'm just a pretentious fool. Beer snobbery.
Oh yeah, it started beer snobbery. What kind of beers do you guys drink? Now, for whatever reason, they'll like UK guys will show up over here, and because one of my friends went to Queen Margaret's up in Scotland. So he has a bunch of UK friends who will come over, and they like Bud Light. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people that you think Bud Light's an acceptable beer choice? I don't get it. So so please tell me you guys don't drink Bud Light.
I don't, personally.
No, I don't.
It's not something you usually get in the UK either, Adam. We get Budweiser, but you don't usually get Bud Light. And you don't get it in them 330 cans either.
No. I mean, we did have a problem. A couple of years ago, we went to Antwerp, obviously in Belgium, pointless geography lesson there, and there was a beer festival on, and they were all, the beers in Belgium are very strong anyway, so we were drinking stuff like 15% at 10 o'clock in the morning.
15% raspberry flavoured.
And there was steam coming off it, and it was one of those. It was like we need to scale down. I'll just have a Stella, please.
Which is
5%. We wouldn't touch Stella, because it's angry stuff. But we were having that was the lemonade basically.
Yeah, Belgium. if you're a beer person, like Belgium's the place to go. It was absolutely unreal when it came to beers. That was clever.
You're pressing buttons, man.
Yeah, sorry.
But isn't it like Stella's like the angry beer? That's right. That's not a myth, right? Because everybody I can't have that stuff ever.
It's in the UK.
It's foul.
It's affectionately known as a wife beater.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not something you need to have.
No, you're not going to be sipping that on the porch on a sunny day, with your friend over, just over a scone.
No, it's not going to happen.
You're going to drink 6 pints of it warm and have a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the rules.
It is. We have 2 pubs in the local area that we use to make us snobs, which are called Rigby's and Flying the Loaf, and they serve a multitude of beers from across the world, really. And you usually, when you go, try a different one each time and get drunk very quickly. Is there specific beers that you drink, Adam?
I usually go for the IPAs now because they're a little bit stronger, and Los Angeles, of course, being very close to San Diego, which for one reason or another has really emerged as one of the beer capitals of at least of this country, and you get a lot of cool like IPAs and stuff. And plus, as a guy who's tried to trim his figure a little bit over the last couple of years, it's easier to have like 2 IPAs and be cool. You got a nice little buzz going as opposed to like having to throw down 14 Coors Lights, or Michelob Ultras or whatever ridiculous. And I now look down at people who drink those kind of beers. I used to always be, a macro beer guy who was like, and I would always hear the jokes about like, oh, American beer is like a canoe, and the punchline to that. So, but now I've become that person, and I'm fine with it. I go, no, I'm really cool. I will sit here and enjoy my beer, and I will have something that's flavored. Like I feel now that I've wasted too much of my life with crappy beer for too long, and it's something that now it's one of my causes is to try to educate people and to try to browbeat people. And for so long, and I would like to apologize to the people of the United Kingdom who for years tried to show me the error of my ways, because I've now found it. I'm there. I'm with you guys now. I get what you were talking about all these many years. I wish I had done it sooner, and I'm appreciative.
The one thing I did a few years ago, we went to New York. A couple of them, the lads had been before. I'd never been with them, and one of the bars we were in did this incredible thing where we ordered our drinks. They went to a fridge and gave us a bottle, and it was cold. And that was a totally new experience for me because we don't tend to get that in our pubs. It's like, they get the bottles of beer out of an oven or some kind of box that's, made sure that this isn't going to be cold and it's not going to be very nice either.
Which is ironic because it's never warm in the UK.
Yeah, how is that possible? It just seems like if you kept your bottles out, they would just, through happenstance, just happen to be warm, like that, or be cold, I should say.
It's a miracle of the UK.
Yeah, the idea of stock rotation in pubs and bars, they'll stock up, but they'll make sure that there's still a cold bottle at the back of the freezer, and they'll stock from the front, rather than putting the cold one at the front and stocking at the back.
Right.
It's
crazy.
It's that idea that
great.
It's that idea, Adam, that I've been to the US as well, and you guys don't stand for poor service and will just refuse to go to places or won't tip people or whatever. British people never moan, so they can kind of do whatever they want because no one's ever going to moan about it.
We'll moan as soon as we've walked out.
We'll moan to we'll moan to each other, but we're never going to tell the manager about it.
No,
right? Yeah. Why do Americans feel that way? Although you know what, like I will question a lot of things that the Americans do that we do as a people, and it's a little bit embarrassing. But at some point, like if the service is bad, like you're paying for it. Like it's not like I'm an invited guest over to your house, and that's where it would be rude to bring up a warm beer or why are you serving this or that. But when you're paying for it and you're getting my money, like you should at least try, at least pretend that you care.
Yeah, exactly. We've never quite got it.
We do have the rule though that if you're at a friend's house and you're given a cold beer, even if it's crap, as long as it's cold, it is impolite to refuse it.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why I always make sure I've got a collection of crap beer in the fridge, Just so if friends ever come around.
Like I have a beer fridge. Like I have a fridge out in the garage that's just full. That's all it is. It's full of beers. And it's a bunch of beers that I don't drink. And I had somebody come over last night after we went out to a pub, watched my friend's band play, and then people came over and I'm like, I'm looking at all the beers in my fridge. I'm like, I've bought beers for everybody else because this is all crap. And the only thing, like all my nice beers were gone. And it was a little disappointing, but you know what? I did actually throw down a Tecate because Mexican beers are always appropriate.
Yeah, I can't really have any arguments on that.
Do you ever get those? Do you guys get like proper Mexican beers out there? Because they do some fine work down here. They have a Bohemian beer that I kind of like because it's cool because everybody will want to come in and drink a Corona or something like that, which you might be more familiar with. But the Bohemian.
We've got one called Desperado,
which is French, Dutton.
Is it French?
Although it's Mexican, as in because it's Desperado, but it's actually brewed in France.
Oh, is it? Huh?
Yeah. I remember reading it for the first time and thinking, what the F? Yeah, we don't get...
I remember drinking it for the first time and thinking that.
Yeah, you always think that. Someone's put tequila inside a lager. Not the best move.
It's dangerous.
Adam, we briefly discussed sports entertainment / wrestling before. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to get your thoughts on CM Punk. Is this real, or is it part of a story? Especially when WWE trolled everyone on Monday, and played his music.
Yeah, I thought that was a great move. I thought they were going to do it, and they were going to bring out Bad News Barrett to do his I'm afraid I have some bad news, and then tell everybody that CM Punk wasn't going to show up, which I would have thought would have been a brilliant way to do it. And then Paul Heyman could have come out and done his whole spiel. But, they went with the way that they wanted to go. They they pretty much owned all the WWE fans. They knew that the Chicago crowd was going to boo and going to expect him to be there, so why not open it with it and, like you said, troll them. And then, to me, this whole thing, I know some people thought it was a work all along, but I always felt it was real. CM Punk always seemed like one of those guys who's willing to walk away when it's time to walk away. And to be honest, though, I like CM Punk. I appreciate him. I hope he wrestles again, but I'm not going to go out of my gourd, hoping that this guy returns because he was given every opportunity. He was given the belt for over 400 days. He was now, a huge part of Raw. He was, he got a new T-shirt every week and pretty much everything he was lamenting when he dropped the pipe bomb at the Thomas and Mack Center back in 2011. Whenever that was, before the Summer of Punk came out, you know what? He got everything that he wanted except for the ice cream bars. So he really didn't have anything to complain about at the end. And if he wants to no longer be a part of it, then you know what? Fine. So be it. I'm not going to begrudge anybody who wants to take some time off and heal himself up. But don't sell me this story that you're upset with the direction that it's going and everything. It's like you're still a big part of the show, and you know what? If you want to be that guy who's upset, then, be it. And I'm not going to be too bummed about it. But again, though, I look at the thing that bums me out is that it's going to be Batista versus Orton for the WWE title. And it's just not exciting. I don't know what way they could have gone. They seem to be in one of those modes where they're like a sports team that like has a bunch of young guys who are on the cusp of being really good, but they're not quite there yet. Because when you look at guys like the Shield and the Wyatts, and Daniel Bryan, of course, is obviously ready to take the top of the card. But you know what? There's still some guys they need to get rid of, and they're still not quite there. So, so I hopefully he comes back, but I'm not going to be too disappointed if he doesn't.
It's that idea. If you see CM Punk, I think you'd be annoyed when creative writers told you that Batista was going to win the Royal Rumble and therefore get a shot at Randy Orton. The issue becomes for Punk is he's not in Marvel's next monster summer blockbuster. Batista is. So there's no doubt in my mind, unless he gets injured, that Batista will be the champ on the 1st of August, because that's when the film comes out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, you know. And it's probably going to be one of those things because everybody's expecting Daniel Bryan, like he should have his WrestleMania moment. I personally hope that Daniel Bryan beats Triple H in less than 18 seconds to make up for WrestleMania 2 years ago. And then, you know what? He's going to go through the chase again, you know, and chase Batista and everything. And hopefully at some point after, you know, like you said, you make a great point. The Batista could be the champion in August, but, you know, right there at SummerSlam would be a perfect time for Bryan to recapture the title and kind of carry it through. And then maybe at that point, Punk will decide he wants to wrestle again. And he has, you know, an adversary of somebody who, you know, picked up the ball from, you know, took what Punk had done and taken it a step further. So they got some interesting stuff coming up, but I'm not necessarily sure that this year's WrestleMania is going to be that great.
I tend to agree. A question, do you have the WWE Network? Have you bought it?
I do, yeah. It's been pretty cool. I get it on my phone, I get it on my PC, but my internet connection at home is too slow because I'm trying to run it through the Xbox. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to fully get into it as much as I would like to, but what I've seen of it, I really do enjoy it. How about you guys?
It's not in the UK.
Oh, you're kidding.
So I tried to get it because I was really interested in watching all the old pay-per-views, especially the ECW ones, because I haven't seen them before. But when I attempted to get it, you can't get it in the UK, and it doesn't look like we'll be getting it until at least 2015.
Oh, that's terrible.
There's no real understanding for it either. It just says if you're outside the US, you're not going to get it. I was thinking, it's the internet. What difference does it make what location I'm in?
What do you have to do? Like have an American internet or something? That seems weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. So I think you need an American IP.
Better than mine, to be fair.
Well, much like Adam has problems at home, and so do you.
Technical terms, Dutton. If you want to start using logic, then we're not going to chit chat.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I have been warned about this before.
Exactly. That's the end of part 1, the Adam Rank interview on Waxing the Whole Mainz and Dutts. Thanks for downloading. Keep an eye out for episode 2, guys.